It's good to know that you are there. Welcome to the conversation. And today, something is bothering me. So much that I thought we should have a conversation about it. Do you know that recently in Abuja, we're getting as high as 42 degrees Celsius? Yes. And it's difficult to sleep. You go to bed, sweating. You wake up, sweating. You take a bath, sweating. You come out of the bathroom, sweating. That is a serious issue. And I thought, let's have a conversation about that. Welcome to the show today. My name is Rita. It is The Conversation on NTA International. And as usual, we have a full house. The couch is full with fantastic people. And I have a good gender, well, semi-balanced. If I'm in the equation, I'm going to start from my far left. Just introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do, and then we can dig into the conversation.
Thank you. I am Ike Utazi. I am a lawyer. I am also in the public service. I'm a consultant on the private level.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome to the show.
My name is Nkirika Chidia Madokwe, and I also in public service. And yes.
Yes?
I have a PhD in environment.
I had to wait for her to say that because we need her on the show today. In environment, we're coming back to you.
My name is Toyin Alasi. I'm a personal finance coach, a financial literacy expert.
Wonderful.
Now, Rita, what is it again? My name is Chukwuma Ohaka.
Is that part of your name?
Yes, my name is Chukwuma
The first part, Rita, what is it again?
Oh, my name is Chukwuma Ohaka. And when people ask me what I do, I say I do business and I work.
Wonderful.
When there's a child out there that's not getting the same that your own child is getting, the difference will tell, and there will come a time in the society where that child is going to take his pound of flesh.
Where you can actually, everything from watching a program with the child, you can start off the conversation from something on the TV and say, oh, you know.
For me, it's like, hurry up with this business. And the other one said, Auntie, it's not about me, it's about the guys, they're not ready to marry.
Yes. If she wants to ask something, no, I know my mother very well. In fact, the most interesting one is when I put up pictures on WhatsApp, you know, Snapchat filters and all that, she will call me. Remove that picture. There was a day, I got tired of all that and I
I don't think in gender boxes at all. I just get on with it.
A man that would dare to ask the wife, who do you think you are? That is a real man.
In fact, our husbands are our firstborns. The husband needs more attention than even the children.
It's not only about work, it's not only about family. They need to take the time to look after themselves, and we don't do that.
They took my money. I paid every fees. I never asked to be hoisted as a governor. I wanted to be allowed to go out there and contest for the position of governorship candidate first.
There's nothing greater than looking back and seeing that while you were aspiring, you were able to inspire others.
Power to women. Yes, we need to have more women, more multitaskers around Nigeria to get Nigeria working.
Definitely.
Yesterday, the day before, the day after, how many of you are praying for the rain like me?
I just prayed this morning. Rain. This is no longer rain, go away.
Rain, please come. You know, let's not forget that people are watching from different parts of the world, different parts of Nigeria. There are some places where they're probably begging the rain to stop.
Yeah.
And here in Abuja, we're saying it is way too hot. I've never experienced this kind of heat in Abuja. What is responsible for it? Have we committed some sin or something? You know, I'm curious.
Someone said that it looks like the devil forgot to lock hell. You know, like the angel let up the devil and then forgot to lock hell, and that's
it's just pouring out. We must be very close to it.
But what we're actually experiencing is what is known as climate change, and that is also that basic climate change actually simply means a variation in the weather. And this is from either human activities and also non-human activities. But what we're actually seeing is an effect of more of human activities. So human activities in the transportation system, oil and gas sector, manufacturing, and so that has brought about an increase in temperature, what you know as greenhouse gases, global warming. So what we're seeing is the effect of global warming. Why? Because the ozone layer has been compromised, and so
we have bleached the ozone layer. The first layer skin is gone.
And so what usually would have protected the earth, the cover, has been compromised, and so you have more of the heat. So you're sorry to bring this bad news, but unfortunately there's going to be more rising temperature according to the IPCC report. Oh my goodness. Because Africa is one of the most vulnerable continents. So you're going to see rising in temperature, you're going to see more flood, you're going to see adverse effects in food security.
Oh my goodness.
You're going to see more of malaria, unfortunately, and cholera, except something is done. And unfortunately, again, Africa doesn't contribute much to the greenhouse, to global warming emissions, but she's going to suffer it because of her low adaptive capacity and also where she's also situated. Nigeria is going to see more of it because Nigeria is part of Africa. And so we're going to unfortunately experience more of these 42-degree heats. We're going to experience more flood. We're going to experience more because when you have flood, you also have some areas like we've noticed that don't have water, don't have rain. That disparity is going to continue. So where we are now at the international level is talking about mitigating climate change and also having adaptive strategies. So perhaps that's what we can start doing.
Adaptive strategies. Let me say it like a professional. Now, that simply means things we should do to be able to, you know, I use the word again, adapt to what is going on. In early February, early February, I was in Lagos. And when I woke up in the hotel room, I heard sounds that sounded like water dropping on the roof. I couldn't believe it, and I opened the window. I quickly went, what? It's raining! And people thought, what's so strange about that? I'm like, Abuja, they stay. It's different. Until now, we're still begging for the rain to come. Before we look at all those adaptive strategies that we can take, let's see, how are you coping? Are you adapting to the weather now? Because we'll let her tell us what we need to do, how we can probably make things better, help the ozone layer to stop bleaching. But how are you coping? I see you're still wearing suit chooks. You're still a gentleman, like Fela would say.
But my job has made me feel like when I wear suit, it looks like I'm wearing the more shirts. Because it's something I do almost on a daily basis.
Okay.
Even in the highest point of the heat, I still wear suit. And
I'm sure your car is as cool as this studio. Maybe cooler, okay.
No, okay. but do you know what would think about this? My concern is not on people who can afford this luxury of trying to quench it.
Somehow.
My concern goes to these people who are living in Bacha, people who are living in homes where 4, 6, 8 people
are in
one room, and the ventilation is very poor. My concern goes to those people who are
hawking.
Yes. Now, the focus is not how I survive, because by the grace of God, you could see that I can do the artificial way of surviving it. I could have my ACs on. I could have.
If you have power.
Yeah, even if you don't have power, you could have generator on. What it could attract to one individual is higher cost of living. Now you could now, if you used to run your generator for like 2-3 hours, you could now run for like 5 or 12, 10 hours. But what about those who can't afford to do the generator whose house already is in a very difficult situation. How would they survive? Because we're talking about cholera, we're talking about malaria, we're talking about all these things. These are also human beings, they live here.
There's also the other ailment that says that they say heat cuts. What is it called now? The one that causes
meningitis. Yeah. Now, Dr. Hart said something. What is government's plan? What are they doing to see that these people, because we pay tax, to see that these people...
Yeah, I pay tax.
To see that these people, they are all Nigerians.
Yes.
We are talking about heat. Some other parts are talking about flood. Give or take, there is a mishap happening somewhere else.
Yes.
What are the plans? Why are we proactive? Are we waiting for it to happen before we come and say, oh, take action? What are we doing? Because I'm concerned. When I drive past those areas sometimes, I feel so bad. And you see, there is nothing you can do to help this, because if you start it, you will also not be able to take care of yourself.
Tony is just shaking her head. Like.
Because I feel for them, you know, it's easy for you to say, I was discussing with my husband yesterday that really some people don't feel this heat. Because from AC car to AC house to AC clients to AC, they don't feel it. And I was telling him, it's actually
maybe in their pocket
the side of the divide that you do. Yeah,
in their pocket. They don't feel it in the body maybe, but their pocket.
They may not be feeling it in the pocket because there's always supply of the money to take care of the bills. So it's really those people who have to go out. So one of the things I'll say is you have to dress light. You see some of them, they still, I don't even know how the policemen cope on the road, still with their black in these heats. They should find alternative things for them. You have to dress light and then hydrate a lot. Drink a lot of water and
what you've just said, like hydrate a lot, there's really the need to hydrate, because we just believe that, okay, this is Nigeria, there's no need to do that, but we have to hydrate a lot. But there's also the problem of maybe we don't have the water. Do you have good water, access to good water? That's also something else again.
So how many people know about this now, this hydrate a lot? Because a few of us got into
So why are you all talking about hydrating? Barrister is hibernating. So let's get him out of that cocoon. Find out how you are dealing with the heat right now.
Yes, let me take 2 steps backward.
Okay.
Doctor said it's called global warming. So in as much as we are dealing with it, discussing what we should do at the lower rungs of the ladder, I am looking at it from the global perspective. Because I read something about global warming. You know, when the thing started, we thought it was their news.
Yes.
But I'll give you an example. There was something I read, they say it will affect even crop yields. And I flashed my mind back to my village when I was living with my parents as a kid. The harvest used to be very bountiful. This cocoyam was nothing. Now, to see cocoyam in the village is a problem. They say there is something.
They're becoming very tiny.
My mind now went to this issue. Even childbearing, it will affect so many things. I read it, I shivered. So it is something that requires serious engagement at all levels. Internationally, nationally, down. How many people know about this? None. And we are still engaging in so many disruptive activities. As we talk, the disruption is at its peak. So while we are talking at this one at the small level, we should be engaging at that level, because it is not, it's something beyond any one individual or group.
That's true.
So that is my worry, because it's a calamity.
That is already happening. It's not waiting to happen.
If it was not for education, you would say that the gods are angry. Because that's the only thing they would have said.
Maybe they are.
They would have said the gods are angry. What do we do to please the gods? But this time around, the education has taught us this. That it's no longer the gods. Because before then, if our fathers go to the farm and the harvest is not as much as bountiful as it used to be, they say who offended the gods.
And then they'll call for sacrifice.
Yes, they call for sacrifice. But now, it's nothing like the gods again. We have the gods in various strategic positions.
Now the gods are not to blame. The gods are not to blame now.
The gods are not to blame now. Doctors should be in the position to tell us what they are planning to do. Because it's as it is now.
Yes, so
Africa doesn't contribute much to it, but
she doesn't. We're going to be at the
receiving end. Why is that so?
like I said, because of our low adaptive capacity, going back to agriculture, Africa depends on rain-fed agriculture. So most of our farmers are waiting for the rain to fall before you plant your seeds. But one of the adaptive strategies is that we should monitor the seasons. So we're going to have to change when we plant.
Really?
So yes. Yes. So instead of planting, thinking, okay, this is when
season to plant,
you have to change it. So that's one of the adaptive strategies. Also, the seeds as well.
Do you mean artificially create the season you want?
No. So now that in some places you're going to have more rains, and in some places you don't have the rains yet. In those areas where perhaps you have the rains, you plant a certain kind of crop that would be able to carry that amount of rain. So the seeds are also seeds that adaptable to the season. So our farmers would have to change how we do regular farming. So instead of waiting for rain-fed farming now, we are going to have to start doing irrigation. We are going to have to start building
dams.
We're going to have to start, instead of waiting, doing tillage as well. So there are certain mechanisms we are going to have to put in place. But the farmer in my village may not understand these things. And that is where there's National Orientation Agency comes in. To educate that's
they always come up in every discussion.
Yes, so that's where Federal Ministry of Agriculture comes in hand with Federal Ministry of Environment to educate the farmers on what can we do, because whether we like it or not, you talked about food security
and preservation.
Now,
we have a high level of waste that is known.
Yes,
when it comes to the kind of crops we produce, we don't preserve them well, and with the heat, it's even worse.
So one of the things that have been recommended is for the farmers to have metal silos, and also triple closed bags to protect the seeds as well. And there's definitely need for infrastructure to create connecting transportation, so that if I plant my pineapples, I can easily take them to Lagos and all that. So these are the things that may have to be put in place to reduce wastage. Like you talked about.
Well, it's very challenging.
Yeah, it is.
Because, I didn't look at it this deep.
Yeah.
I was thinking it's about the heat. Now, I'm more scared than I've ever been. Because
I'm sorry to make you more scared. No, come on.
Come on. What doctors?
Come on.
No, they'll tell you the sickness is difficult.
Okay.
Nigeria is going to be the most populous. We're already the most populous country in Africa.
Oh my goodness.
But our population is going to more than triple. Wow. So you're also talking about increase in population. So imagine we're all managing this small space. Imagine this table is a small space, and we're trying to manage the resources. Imagine if we have triple that population. So you're talking about, again, food security, you're talking about water security, because Nigeria is a water scarce country. What do you mean by water scarce country? It means that we're suffering from lack of sufficient water.
Drinkable water.
Not just drinkable water, but water itself.
Really?
Yes, really? Unfortunately.
I would have thought with the ocean.
Oh, you would have thought. Yes, fresh water. We suffer from that as well. So we're one of the water scarce countries. So because of climate change, we're tilting towards water scarcity. So these are the things we are going to have to deal with in the next 10, 20, 25 years.
And that also affects power, doesn't it? When it's the raining season, we always hear, oh, power is better now, power supply is better now, but we know just how good it is when seasons like this come. How has it been with you in terms of power?
Epileptic.
You see it, but then it goes, right?
It comes and goes, it comes and goes.
Some people don't know whether there's still power supply at all.
I know I'm talking a lot.
No, you're free.
Let me say something. Like I said, this thing goes, you can see deforestation coming towards us. We're all joking about it.
And it's serious.
You can see the clashes between herdsmen and farmers. The herdsmen are looking for greener pastures. And the thing is encroaching. The farmers want to farm. So you look beyond, because when people talk about it, I just laugh. It goes beyond what people think. Because human beings must survive. Animals must survive. So they go to where it is more convenient
for them.
And it's just like the story of the elephant. Let me put my ear small. It's raining. He said, no problem, just put your ear. Before you say, can I put my trunk? And before you know, he drives away the man who owns the tent. So, because the man must survive. It is this survival instinct that will cause most problems we will see. So the global warming will be happening. You see other things happening in our midst. People will be attributing it to their gods, to religion, to the... It is not so. It's driving us, and we're not sitting down to say, what do we do? You know, Nigerians pray a lot. We pray a lot. I am a Christian, but I don't have time for that. I think, what do you do?
Prayer without works does not work, does it?
She is proffering solutions, practical solutions. But when we discuss it now, the people that should act know about it. But we always think it is something that will happen overnight. We have a long-term plan.
As individuals, there are different habits we have that also impact on the climate. For instance, I attended a training sometime last year about reporting, and then we talked about climate change and how journalists should treat the issue. And since then, when I go shopping, I limit the number of bags I take. Yes. You know, when you go to some of the shops, they put your goods in one bag and they put it into another bag, and you don't have a use for it when you get home. You just trash it. And those things take so long or maybe never decomposes. Have we ever wondered why when you go abroad they tell you to pay for those bags? Yes.
And so it cautions the way
and the ones that give, they use paper bags, not polyethylene bags. If you know you have to pay. There was a time I went shopping when I was outside the country. I threw them in my handbag. I'm not buying that bag for what?
No, what you do?
I put what I bought inside my handbag and left the store.
Before you go now, you check the ones at home. Pick the ones at home, put them in the bag.
Yes, when you know, I wasn't aware.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so, or maybe it's not my first time, but then I forgot. And then after they finished, you know, checking, I was waiting for her to bag it. She's like, yeah, that's your stuff.
2 pence.
And then I realized, oh, they're not going to give me a bag. I just opened my handbag and...
But, you know, I just want to just touch again on something before I touch on what you said.
Okay.
In as much as we have challenges, there are also opportunities.
All right.
And that's what I want to look
into. So you talk about the heat. We can harness that. So that's why you have solar panel, solar energy. So as we have more sun, we can actually generate electricity from solar.
Nice.
Yes. I can use an example. In Hull is in England. It's a very windy place.
Yes, so
so what they've done is they have more wind farms to generate electricity. So Nigeria can actually, in fact, the northern part of Nigeria can actually become our electricity hub because we have the sun there. So we can have a lot of solar panel to generate electricity. So that's the opportunity there. That's actually an opportunity for public-private partnerships to do that. And then back to what can I do as an individual.
Yes.
Like you talked about the plastic bags. I might need to reuse the plastic bags. You know, then also use less plastic. I know it's easier said than done.
Yes.
It's easier said than done, but you have to be very conscious about it. You know, you have to ask yourself, what am I doing? At the construction, people who build houses, why don't I add more green spaces? What I mean by green spaces, it means that when I build a house like where we are at the moment, you have, you make sure you have plants around the house.
Garden.
Not just the gardens, I mean plants around the house, on the wall of the house.
On the wall.
Yes. So that helps ventilation.
Wow.
So you have clean air. You know, and then also people that build estate developers. Why do we all have just concrete? Why can't, after one house, 2 houses, or whatever, you have trees?
Yeah, I was still saying.
They want to maximize the land. How much land is in Abuja?
No, but why would you maximize the land? And people are dying.
I'm just making devil's advocate. But I think that's what is going on. You know these days, the plots are like 400 square meters. And
they're
not
thinking
houses.
Human beings
all over.
will never behave until they are made to behave.
Until they're made to behave.
Regulations, rules should take care of that.
Then as a farmer,
they will have to maximize profits.
As a farmer, instead of saying it's easier for me to just burn the farm, you know, it's cheaper.
Yes.
As you're burning that farm, you're also causing climate change. You're adding to it. And not just that, you're also destroying the nutrients.
That will grow your plants.
That is, you know, so we need to ask ourselves, what can we do? What am I doing? You know, so as an individual again, how do you dispose of your plastics? Which is very key, you know. But the thing is, yeah, the plastics are not, they're one of the issues, but they're not like the main issues. So instead of falling a tree, plant a tree. Someone made a suggestion. The person said that when children are celebrating birthdays, instead of just buying cake and chewing gum or whatever, let them plant a tree. So we have to get that culture, you know, of planting more trees, because that is one of the ways we can stop the erosion and also combat global warming.
But to speak about issues that concerns, since we're having a conversation, see, once in a while, like I am wearing now makeup.
Yeah.
What climate change is doing to women and makeup right now? You are laughing. This is a very serious matter. You know, with the heat, you leave your house, maybe you're going to the office. These days, except I have to come on set or I have an important meeting to be at, I try not to wear makeup. But of course, imagine if I came out with all the heat and I didn't wear makeup today, you would have wondered, what's in the happen for conversation today? But seriously speaking, when you wear your makeup with this kind of temperature and you have to be outside, it is mask up, no matter how light you had it on before. Even we had to powder the faces of our gentlemen 1, 2, 3 times because they were shining, literally, from the heat. How are you coping, Tony? Before you tell us about your wife and the ladies around you.
You adapt. Well, as a lady, I take my handkerchief, just dab from time to time. You dab from time to time, because especially if you have an oily face, you have to.
Like I do.
Like I do too. So I have to dab from time to time. Maybe just use the powder brush. If you have a meeting, but if you don't, most times I'm not wearing makeup. If
you just allow your skin breathe.
Yeah, breathe. So I just clean up and then I'm like that, except I have to go for a meeting or stuff. I don't wear makeup.
And I keep a bag of wipes now.
Yeah.
So
more business for us.
A bag of wipes, because you know when you don't wear makeup too, there is the sweat and the shiny thing on your face. I just clean off often, and then maybe I just use white talcum powder to just make sure my face is not like green light district, if you know what I mean. Also, you don't even wear makeup, do you?
She doesn't. Yeah. But sorry, let's talk less of the makeup thing.
We will talk some of it.
What do we have to say to schools? Because we need to give a message. What do we have to do or say for schools where they have these kids packed all together?
Is it in the classroom now, even boarding schools as well, where you have bunks that have how many students in one particular bunk, one particular room?
What should they do? Because, you know, most of these parents we talk about can't afford to get their children into schools where they can have this semi-whatever kind of hostel. How do we tell them, the owners of these schools? Because you see children go to school, come back with rashes, and you begin to check, how did it happen, how did it happen? And aside that, what about those who get put to bed newly? And you see, it's serious. Whatever we can say and however we can bring it up, so that people can, if it's NGO, if an NGO you can do assist, come up with a program with this and say how people are suffering on this. People are suffering. You see a lot of rashes on children, and these are not rashes they go to school with. They come back with rashes. They come back with different kinds of ailments. How?
I'm going to go back to you because you are the environmental and the inhabitant of the environment specialist. One thing that is very rampant when the weather is hot like this are those long brothers. They become very migrants. The reptiles. They move a lot. I remember sometime last year, people even had stories of having reptiles coming out of their toilets. And, you know, we had even incidents within and outside of the country. How do people cope? How can we manage that kind of situation? What should people do now that the heat is so much, whether they shouldn't leave their door open and you need to get fresh air? So how do you manage?
I don't think you can tell people not to leave their doors open, because how else do you get fresh air? But you're going to be more vigilant. That's what I would just say.
Okay.
You're going to have to be more vigilant, because you said surviving, the elephant and the man. So these animals have to survive as well.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. They're going to have to survive.
They come to where it's cold.
Yes. But you're going to have to be more vigilant. That's just what it is.
You almost scared me. When you said you're going to have to be more, I thought you were going to be saying accommodating. You can share your space with them.
I hope that people in authority are listening, because I've gained a lot sitting here, listening from you, and listening to you rather. I believe that if this message is taken down to those who can afford to watch NTA, because not everybody can afford to watch NTA.
That's true.
If that can be a way where every week a circular is sent down, people are spoken to, those areas that are mainly going to be the areas that these things are going to be high on. You go there, you talk to them, you lecture them, then tell them these preventive measures and then adaptive measures that they can use to survive. Leave us. When I say leave us, it's not because we are not feeling it. Someone walked into my office the day before yesterday and we were talking about it. And he was talking about the heat in Abuja, and I asked him, are you feeling the heat? Because it's one big man I know. I asked him, are you feeling the heat? I know how your car is. I know how your office is, and I know how your home is. So when we talk about the heat in Abuja, you're not feeling the heat. There are these that are feeling this. Those we know that are feeling this heat. How are we taking these messages to them? How do they survive it?
And how are we helping them? There are children on the street who still have to hawk, sadly. Some of them maybe not wearing slippers.
In the heat. That's true.
In this heat.
That's true.
So it's alarming.
It's a lot of work.
You just said something. Yes, NGOs are actually doing better than our government agencies. We have the National Orientation Agency. How many times have you seen their vans with their public address system? Different languages, record the message, Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo, and some other languages. And go down to the grassroots. You know why I like Nigerians? Nigerians are good followers.
We are.
Just show leadership, they will follow.
We are.
I think that is just the thing.
Even the town hall meetings, even the traditional
people need to wash their hands more. Immediately your kids
take the message to them, they will abide by it.
That's true.
Do you know, one day I went to the small room. One of my kids ran in. I finished, he said, Daddy, come. You didn't wash your hand. I said, yes, I want to finish what I... He said, no, come and wash your hand. As I was washing, he went and brought soap. He said, they told us to use soap.
Because
you understand? See, he has picked the message. He insisted I must use soap. I used soap. He went and brought soap. He said, clean your hands. When I finished, he went and scrubbed the whole place. I was so impressed. I was so impressed.
I see Tony smiling. She's into cleaning, right? Yes, you're into cleaning. And we've talked about dogs, reptiles, and all of that. Do you often get special requests during this period about what people need to do about cleaning and keeping themselves safe?
Yeah, you need to ventilate. But then when you ventilate, dust comes in, so you have to dust a lot to keep the space clean. Get your kids to wash their hands more often. The house mopped more regularly. Because you open everything up most of the time, the dirt's coming. You have to clean, sweep, mop, stuff like that will maintain.
And maybe putting nets in our windows and doors could help. Because you said you can't tell someone not to shut their doors because they have to vent. But maybe if you have a net door, that would at least keep the crawlers from coming in.
Then you're not thinking of what if you try to do that and you slip up and brother takes advantage.
Hey! The things we have to worry about, they are much, right?
You see, Barrister mentioned something. I never thought about that. This issue of doing these messages in different languages and sending it down. I also know that government has their own radio station. That most of these people also tune to because they are everywhere in the country. They can also push it out. He said Nigerians are good listeners. We are good followers. When these things are done, instead of coming to give the chiefs hot drink for things that are not necessary, allow the chiefs in the local areas also, in our churches, because I've not heard any of this in any of the churches I've attended recently. I've not heard about this. I don't know if they say it in the mosque because I don't go to the mosque. The churches also ought to play a very big role once in a while, bring experts like doctors to come to the church.
The religious bodies generally.
The religious bodies, rather. That's the right word. The religious bodies should also bring people like doctor, come and explain to our people. No matter how little it is. When people come and say it is from the church that we heard this message, it works very well. It is from the mosque that we got this message. It works very well. Let's take it to every individual. Say it, because I didn't know that even in planting, you have to now change how you plant. If I was a farmer, I would have been going by the old way that I knew growing up. And the results wouldn't have been good. And you could see that some farmers complained that they had poor harvest. The result may have been as a result of them doing the old way without putting into practice the new system that they have inherited.
That affects the
and
water as well.
It's bringing up poor results, and we're saying that we're having poor products, and you don't know that it's the climate change. Information is key. Those who are involved should take it.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking about those who are involved in cure, it would be nice if we can get, like, in a layman's language, okay? I have to emphasize that. What people need to do as individuals, no matter how highly placed or lowly placed, if you know what I mean, you are, to cope in this situation, and what the don'ts that they need to do, so we are not adding to the problem we already have.
And like I said earlier, basically, we, as individuals, we're going to have to change how we live our lives and what we do. So we talked about plastics, basically, which is one of the issues. We also talked about, I also have to add, energy efficiency.
How do you mean?
Buying energy efficient light bulbs.
Okay.
To reduce the global warming. As a woman in the village, what do I do? In the village, what do I do? It means that I have to stop burning grasses, burning the farm.
Stop bush burning.
Bush burning, indiscriminate bush burning. I have to stop it because it's not good for the environment.
Sorry to cut in before you continue. When it comes to bush burning, there are some habits that also leads to bush burning without people knowing. Those who smoke, they just throw their cigarette
that's
Not
true.
just in the farms, but even in Abuja, in cities, you experience that sometimes.
That has to do with the lifestyle.
Exactly, lifestyle.
I was waiting for you to finish.
Okay, all
because
right.
I was going to say, after we finish this, what about lifestyle?
All right.
Meals.
Let's allow her.
One of the options they've said, I know a lot of people may not agree, is to eat less meat. Because cattle is one of the main emitters of greenhouse gases. So yes, so one of the things they say is eat less meat. But I know people may not.
Hopefully
really
we
want
don't get
that.
sued.
The
last time someone said this, there was a court case.
Because we need to know what lifestyle is important.
So how can I cope as well? Like, you said, wear lighter clothing. It's very necessary. It's going to get hotter than this, unfortunately. But wear lighter clothing. Drink a lot of water. Drink a lot of water. The schools as well. But the thing is, you can't really tell. I think it's actually the parents who need to tell the school how many people they should admit. But everybody will say, how can I accommodate in a class? But somebody will say, so you want them to admit your child and not admit my own?
So they should grow the school, build more classrooms if you want to admit more people. That's for the government school, right?
As for government school, as for private schools, they will say funded. So this is really quite tricky. It's not a here and there. It's quite tricky, but we'll need to change our lifestyle. We'll need to change how we do things. So I would say drink more water, wear lighter clothing.
Each time you say that,
don't cut the trees down.
Don't cut the trees down. Think about the trees.
More trees.
Before.
There is something. You know, we've been talking about these issues and how we go about it. And I was just thinking aloud. We are talking about global warming, deforestation, and the rest. Do you know that the real casualties are the people in the urban areas, not people in the rural areas?
Of course, because I love
because
my
they are still very close to nature.
Yes,
that's true.
If I go to my village now, I can sleep outside till daybreak. And the kind of air you receive there, no AC will give it to you. But you don't attempt it here, they will come and pick you. So, and the population is more choked up here.
Yes.
So actually, if I take it beyond here, that's why I'm thinking aloud. If the government provide infrastructure down the grassroots, half of people in Abuja will go back home. And these things will come down. So people are cramping here because they are looking for greener pastures. The greener pasture in the pockets, not the real green.
Not in the fields.
So if you develop the country, so many people will not come here. So it is those in the cities that you need to go to Pape. I went to a place to see somebody who gave birth. It is an L or U house. 20 rooms. 10 on this wing using one toilet, 10 on this wing. Because when I said I wanted to be, what I saw, I held until... Yes. That was 2014 or 2015. It was terrible. It's better. In fact, I jokingly told the person that took me there, said, it's better these ones go to the village. I said 20 rooms, 10 on this wing, 10 on this wing.
There's going to be
and each room has at least 2 persons. You just said you went to see someone who had a baby, so that room probably have 4 or 5 persons in each of the rooms, maybe.
So the young man, the wife, the mother of the wife, the sister of the wife.
Because everybody was staying.
In fact, we didn't sit and we came outside to sit because the room was full. So when I look at this, those in the village are better off. They have space. That's the truth, except that they cook with wood and the rest, which is also contributing to the problem. But the one here is worse than what I see.
But there's going to be increase in urbanization as well. More people are going to move from the rural areas to the urban areas.
In search of a better life.
In search of a better life, yes. So that is something that is going to continue. But as well, we talked about what can I do? Mosquito nets. You're going to have, because prevention is better than cure.
Because you said there'll be increase in malaria.
There's going to be increase because of the heat.
Because of the heat,
yes. And then also, if you can fumigate where you live.
Sure.
Fumigate.
That's something else again. Fumigation is quite key. Yeah, those are the things.
Let me say something about fumigation, because you talk about fumigation now, people will be saying, how can we fumigate in a public place? Now, because people are watching. It's not good for one to be the obstacle towards the fumigation. If in my environment, I want to fumigate and I want to pay, like, assuming it's 15K. If you people are 10 living in a compound, contribute to make it possible. Don't wait for landlord to come and fumigate, because most times people think they are doing it for the landlord. Within themselves, they should come up and say, let's do this within our environment to help ourselves for our environment. Remember in the last episode, we did talk about ownership mentality.
Yes.
If we begin to take this, I know we also push it to the government. And who are this government, I say?
We are the government.
So if we begin to personalize it, now a lot of things have been dished out here by Doctor. Doctor has said a whole lot. Now it's left for those who are listening to now begin to implement. Because you see some people will take all this in and say, they will sit there and say, it's government, we're waiting for government to, you see how this place is, we're waiting for government to, and somebody is bringing up the idea of fumigation. And you say, how can we do fumigation when government can do this? It's government work. If it is 15,000 and your own role is 1,000, bring it out and pay. The health you have is for yourself, not for government, not for me, not for any other person.
The reptiles as well.
Yes, it keeps the reptiles away. It keeps every other thing that could harm your body, harm your children. Because if we can take consciousness of being healthy, putting our environment okay, making it look good. Like, imagine what he said. It wasn't spirits that came and defecate that place and make it bad. People made it bad.
The place is, I mean, you don't even need a spirit to get that place looking bad. With that number of people to work on.
But it could still be possible that they use and they flush.
An economic expert once told me that so long as your bathroom is how many minutes away from where you are, or a second, if you have to leave your room to go outside to use the restroom, that you're poor. That's what he told me on the program when we're talking about economics. So the level of poverty is also a big problem when you talk about these things.
Yes. And that's why what he said is important.
Yeah.
Why are you in the city and you can't survive? You're always broke, you don't have food, you are suffering, and instead of going back to the village.
Right.
So everybody wants to say
there
that
is this I live in Lagos, I live in Abuja
even
thing
when
that
it is Gwagwalada, you stay.
The person will ask you, so you came to the city, you don't want me to also come to the city?
go to the village.
And there, but do you know?
Because I'm always wondering, you can't pay your rent. You're chasing people for money all the time. You have a house in the village. Why don't you go live there?
That's
and there are lots to do in the village. There's very many things you can do in the village.
There's a lot.
Because when I
you
go,
don't pay rent.
You don't pay rent, and yes.
Even if you do pay rent, it is very cheap. It is very affordable compared to what you pay.
And you can wake up in the morning and go to
city.
the farm.
No, that urban mentality. I was at home in December. Along the line, we needed 2 chickens. Do you know, in my own village, it was only one woman that her own was remaining. We were buying at 6,000. And I was telling the young kids going to school, I said, can't you perform a group and start raising this thing? By December, you are...
When they spend a lot of money. These people that are telling you they don't have money are still spending money to buy data, and they're on Instagram.
After talking to them, we have agreed to set up a cooperative. We are working on it. Because I was telling, look at how much I'm buying chicken. What are people doing? You watch TV, you do nothing. Youths in secondary school. So there are so lot we can do. But nobody wants to really soil his hands. Everybody wants to wear tie.
And be a gentleman like that. Like Fela would say. You know, there's something that cropped up when we're talking about fumigation sometime. Whenever this comes up, some people will laugh at me like you're being, what's the word now? I'll find the word later. The use of bitter cola.
Yes. Oh yeah, bitter cola.
Garlic. And stuff like that. Some people say you're being too spiritual. But it's medicinal, right?
It is.
So,
it is. Where our house is in the village, we have lots of reptiles. So what my dad did was he put bitter cola on every spot, and it actually did repel them.
Really?
So, yes, I can attest.
I'm buying some after the show.
So yeah, there are things we used to do, or we call them traditional ways.
Yes.
So we could go back to those traditional ways.
Some people think of it and be like, oh, that's a fetish thing to do. You're being too spiritual. Well, that's why we're talking about it now, right?
The plants you have around your house, I'll chase them away.
Plants,
Why
exactly.
There
are plants too. There are plants too. I know camphor plants, the camphor plant. Where you
when you said camphor, I thought of the one that
there's a camphor plant where you get the camphor oil from.
Okay.
It also is it repels these things. Yes, it is.
Okay. Now you see it's
so plant the rights, around your vicinity.
Yes.
Get bitter cola and garlic, not in your pot, but maybe around the windows.
Bitter cola because some people don't like the scent of garlic.
No, I don't.
Yeah. And some people are allergic to garlic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, some people are allergic to garlic.
Okay, so check and be sure you're not allergic to it before you use it. So you don't say the conversation people told you. Be sure you're safe with whichever option you're going for before you use it, because it's very, very important. Well, the climate is changing and we are having a conversation. But one thing we do know is whatever happens, we can adapt.
Yes.
Depending on how we behave. Behavioral change is very important, right? We all agree to that.
Yes.
Dress appropriately, clean your environment, use nets when it's necessary. It's almost necessary everywhere in Nigeria for you to use nets. If not to keep the reptiles away, to keep the mosquitoes away, you need to use nets. Maybe we can also talk about getting what is the word for immunization, right?
Yes.
Against the preventive measures for the meningitis and stuff.
Exactly.
Sometime last year, there was call for people to go and get immunized.
Vaccination.
I didn't do it eventually, sadly.
Okay, but another year has come.
Yes, I should get immunized.
Also
Have you done so?
Vaccinate.
Vaccination.
No, but it's not. I've not heard about. Once we hear about it, First, I push my children to go and do it.
No, my children did.
Yes.
That's we always do that. But do you get to do it eventually? Is the next step.
That's true.
It's very important we do these things and then stay safe no matter what is going on.
Also, it's possible to have plants in your homes.
Yes.
You know how we have those flower pots?
Yes, inside the house.
Inside the
indoor
house,
plants.
Indoor
Yes.
plants. It would
It's
also
very
help
good.
the air as well.
Really?
Yes,
yes.
So when you talk about green spaces,
You know
that's
they
what
breathe
it's
in the
about.
carbon dioxide you take, you
Yeah,
breathe
they
out,
give
and
you
then they give you
oxygen.
oxygen.
Yes.
Oh, really?
So you have airy, so your house will be airy.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
A lot.
Yes.
Pay me money.
No, but you have to send your bill. You have to give it to Rita to come. And Rita knows what to do.
Oh, I do, right?
You can help me pay in advance. I know.
Look, one thing I'm known for is you pay the bill and send me the receipts, okay? Make sure you do that so I can keep records. All right, that's our conversation for today. Thank you for being a part of it. Now you know you need to stay safe. The environment is changing. Climate change is for real. So dress appropriately. Keep your environment clean. Get mosquito nets. And, of course, stay safe. And we want to say a big thank you to our friends at GNC Pharmacy for being so fantastic, giving us some goodies and, of course, helping us out to make our set look better. But I'll tell you what, they're going to do more. You see, I talked about makeup earlier. Next episode of this program, they'll be here doing my makeup, and I'm looking forward to that part. Commitment, right? This is when we say bye-bye. Thank you for being a part of the show.